Hey there, my name's Adam, your friendly Sasquatch, and today we're going to be doing a quick video review of the YETI Tundra 35 medium-sized cooler. This is a great cooler for a family of 4 trying to do an overnight camping trip, or for the weekend for that matter, or 6 to 8 people who just want to bring a few drinks to the beach and have a good time in the sun. So a great all-around cooler. It's not so big that it's difficult to carry, but it definitely holds a lot more than one of the smaller lunchbox sized coolers would. When you buy one of these coolers, you get an information card attached to the handle, the warranty paperwork, instructions, and then the YETI sticker. And with this cooler, you get a dry goods basket, which I really like. A lot of the YETI's coolers don't come with a dry goods basket, which can come in really handy, especially with these larger coolers. You can keep things like sandwiches and stuff like that up and out of the ice to make sure they don't get soggy if your bags leak. Something else I like to do with these is put electronics into them. So let's say you're at the beach, something like that, it's really hot outside. You don't want your cell phone and stuff to get wet, but you can keep them cold and out of the sun inside the cooler to ensure that they don't overheat, which is personally what I like to do. If you have a couple people, throw a couple cell phones in here and your phones will not overheat. Let's go ahead and dive into the size and weight of this cooler, some of the features you get with this cooler, then ultimately who I think it's for. So first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at the size and weight of this particular cooler. It is 21.1 inches long, 15.9 inches wide, and 15.4 inches tall. That's 53.6 centimeters long, 40.4 centimeters wide, and 39.1 centimeters tall for our metric friends. And then it weighs in at 21.4 pounds or 9.7 kilograms. Before we open this thing up, let's just go ahead and take a quick walk around the outside of this particular cooler so you can see what it's all about. On the very top here, we have this kind of textured finish, which is great for sitting on, using as a cutting board or anything like that. It's a very flat surface. There's no lip or anything around the perimeter to prevent things from rolling off, unfortunately. And another thing I kind of wish this cooler had were maybe some circular spots to put cup holders into like some other coolers have. But for this particular cooler, it's perfectly flat, which gives it a nice clean look, but there aren't some of those other accessories. Moving to the end here, we have a rope handle with a nice kind of plastic sleeve on it. It has a rubberized textured grip. It's super wide, so even with my large hands here, you can see that the rope isn't going to be rubbing the side of your hand on longer carrying excursions. Above the rope handle, there's also a molded handle built into the sidewall of the cooler itself. I particularly like this for loading into a truck or putting onto a shelf, something that's a little bit higher up. It helps you get the cooler up a little bit higher without having to lift quite as far. Moving to the back of the cooler, you can see the hinges are quite robust and just a perfectly smooth back. And then the very bottom of the cooler, we do have 4 kind of rubberized feet. And these feet do pop out, which is kind of nice because you can replace them if they get torn up. Or YETI also sells some kind of plastic smooth slider feet in case you want to slide these around on a deck or something like that and you don't want the grippy feet. So that's a nice touch. And then of course on the very bottom, you have the YETI logo impressioned in there. So if you are on the beach and you walk away, there's a nice YETI logo left in the sand to let everybody know that a YETI product was here. Flipping around to the front side of the cooler, you can see we have 2 of these padlock locations, one on each corner. You can either put padlocks in there or just use it as a tie-down location in the back of your truck, something like that. Just run a cable or a bungee through there. So I do like that you can lock it. That could be important if you're at a campsite, you want to keep bears out of this. They say it's bear resistant, but a padlock is 100% bear resistant. Or if you're transporting something a little bit more valuable, you can just make sure it's a little bit harder for people to get in there. As far as the latching mechanism, it's super simple. It's kind of that stretch style tab. So you just pull down and then pull out, and then the tabs stay in their upright position. I do like these latches. They feel very secure. They don't feel like they're going to wear out or anything like that over time. And these kind of ball style pieces of rubber suck up into the underside really nicely, where you can see there's cutouts to kind of accommodate the sphere. So that makes it really hard for these latches to just accidentally come undone. So A+ on the latch design for the YETI cooler. Opening this thing up, take a closer look. We have a rubber seal all around the perimeter, making sure that minimal air is lost, and a nice deep lip around the edge here. So that does a couple things. It makes the cooler a little bit more sturdy. If you put a lot of weight or something on this, the lid is not likely to slip off. It's pretty much locked in there. Now, YETI does not claim that this seal is 100% waterproof. It's pretty close, but if you do knock this over in the back of your truck or your boat, you may get a little bit of water leaking out from the melted ice. The plus side of that is if you put dry ice or something like that into this cooler, it's not going to build up pressure. It'll safely vent out, preventing a safety risk. So you kind of take the good with the bad. And as we said earlier, we got the bear-proof logo right there, showing that it has been tested to the bear safety standard, which I know nothing about. It just says it's bear resistant, which sounds kind of cool. Moving to the drain end of the cooler, it's just a simple screw in, screw out drain, which I really like. It prevents you from having to tip over a heavy cooler at the end of the day. And the threads are super thick on this. You're not going to strip them out or anything like that. And there is a nice rubber O-ring on the inside to ensure that your cooler stays 100% sealed. I also like that there are ridges on the outside of the plug, making it easy to unscrew and screw in. But as you can see, when you look at the cooler from this bottom, the plug does not extend past the outermost parts of the sidewall of this cooler, ensuring that it's not going to catch on things when you're loading it into the back of a vehicle, a boat, or ATV, anything like that. So overall, I'm going to give the plug design an A+. On the inside of the cooler, on the bottom of the cooler, you can see there's a cutout channeling water to the plug itself. This means that when your cooler is sitting on level ground, all the water will drain out 100% without any concerns of having to prop this up at an awkward angle. So a nice little touch you get with the YETI cooler here. They really pay attention to the little details that matter. As far as icing this cooler, I like to use the 4-pound YETI ice block. It sits nicely on the bottom of the cooler, like so. And you throw 5 to 10 pounds of ice on top of that, and you're set for an all-day trip or even a weekend trip. If you want to use more than just the 4-pound large YETI ice, either because you don't want to buy bags of ice or you just don't want to deal with the water melt off, I would recommend getting 2 of the medium-sized YETI ice blocks, and they will fit vertically on either side of the 4-pound block, like so. Everything kind of locks up that way. You won't have ice bouncing around, and it's reusable, so you don't have to keep buying ice, which is nice. So that would be 8 pounds of ice total, which should be fine for an all-day trip. I don't know that I would want to do an overnight trip with just these ice blocks. I'd probably want to throw another 5 pounds of ice on top of this. But that's how the ice blocks fit into this particular cooler. That was obviously intentional by YETI because they really think these products through when they design them. So that's kind of a quick and dirty overview of the exterior and interior features of this particular cooler. All right, guys, there you have it. That's my quick and dirty overview of the YETI 35 Tundra. I think it's a great medium-sized cooler. Should take care of a family of 4 for a weekend or just a day at the beach, 6 to 8 people, all the drinks and lunches that you would need. So highly recommended. It's a nice size where it's not so big that's bulky to get around, but it's big enough to hold everything you need and then maybe a little bit more. I hope you found this video review helpful. If you did, make sure to hit that like button below. It helps the channel out a lot. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell icon so you're the first to be notified when I release new videos just like this one. Cheers!